things have blown up because of Harvey Weinstein. I mean, I think things were kind of brewing for a while, and just to be clear, when Film Threat was a print magazine in like the 90s, we had a column called Tales from the Casting Couch, where each column we had an actress come on and talk about some experience that she had. I mean, me moving from Michigan to Los Angeles was like all these weird cliches and stereotypes. Some of them are true. And the thing that I'd heard over and over again from friends that I made at the time was that it was a real thing. And, the drag about the column, because I think it lasted just over a year, like it was always a battle to get that through lawyers. We couldn't get we couldn't name names. We couldn't and I dealt with Alan Isaacman because Film Threat at the time was being published by Larry Flint Publications, and Alan Isaacman was portrayed in the People vs. Larry Flint movie by Edward Norton. So I dealt with that lawyer directly about this, and this column was always, every other thing in Film Threat was like, okay, this is comedy, this is an opinion, we're doing a preview of a movie, and then this column would come up, and it would always be a battle to try and get, the story out there. And this is like 93, 94, when we were doing this. I don't know of anyone at the time that was writing about this stuff. The column didn't last as long as I wish it had, but it did result in the Geraldo show at the time actually did a special episode on the column where they had the writer Josh Allen Friedman there, and it was just weird because I'm battling two things. I'm battling the lawyers for what I wanted to get the column in the magazine, and then the writer getting, battling with Josh about just wishing that yes, I wish it could be better, this, if we can just get this out there, this is something. One of the things that I always wanted Film Threat to be was this thing that exposed a lot of these kinds of things, right? And we're just being honest, right? Well, there's definitely a cost for that because of writing that column. I mean, Film Threat was just a pariah. I mean, we couldn't get publicists to work with us. I mean, we were being published by Larry Flint at the time, and that didn't help us. But then just the fact that we would write about stuff and be honest, we weren't making deals with the publicist to get Tom Hanks on the cover and give flowery coverage to something. We were trying to approach things in a comedic way, which is always my downfall.
You hit the nail on the head. I think, first of all, Film Threat was way ahead of its time, and thank goodness it was, because it opened up the lines of communication. So even though it cost you dearly, I do think it's paved the way and sort of set the stage for where we are now.
Well, I don't know if it paved the way. It made it so I don't think I did.
Somebody has to break that mold.
Well, my thought was okay, someone else is going to be able to do this who has a legal department that will, be willing to take a risk. Someone will, this is a real thing. I thought it was.
And then nobody did.
Nobody did, but that's fine. That's, what can I do?
You did what you could do. You spoke about it when you could, when you were able to. You did shine a light.
And that's where you deserve some credit.
And that's all you can do. You can't make others follow suit. What you can do is say, here's what I'm doing. I feel strongly about it.
I know people who have been affected by it, and now it's just blowing up everywhere. It's the whistleblowing's on. I mean, Harvey Weinstein, I'm gonna guess he's not the only one, that there are others.
It's been a snowball effect. I mean, it started earlier this year with the Cinefamily founder. I mean, this was bad.
But let's take a moment to assess that situation too, because I do think that there are some men that are being brought into this whole fire that should not be. People that have, maybe grabbed a tush 17 years ago. Am I saying that they were appropriate to grab a girl's bum 17 years ago when they were talking at a bar? No, I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying the gravity to that action is very different than Harvey Weinstein or any of the other men who try to force sex on women in exchange for roles or a job. I don't know about you. I grew up in Canada. I have grabbed a few butts in my day, and I've kissed a few people that did not request me to kiss them, and they could come up now and say that I sexually harassed them, and I would say they gave me no indication at the time. And I would apologize profusely. Do I think that my actions 17 years ago should result in me losing a job today? Absolutely not. So I do think we need to see all of these things with an open mind, not condoning again. Admittedly, like I go back to when I visited Paris once, and I was dared by a group of women to run up and French kiss a man who was guarding the Eiffel Tower. And I did so without question. And it was a great fucking kiss. If he wasn't down for it, he totally could have pushed away, said something. He didn't. However, did I ask his permission? No. Did I assume he'd be okay with it? Yes. Was that right? Absolutely not. It was not. I'm not saying my actions are right. I'm simply saying it's not fair to ruin a person's life over something they did a long time ago if the actions were not properly expressed necessarily at the time. And I think this whole like lynch mob mentality that we've become
it's like become like a digital
it
lynch
has
mob.
Yeah, and I'm so glad like that one woman, even like Ben Affleck. I'm not the biggest Ben Affleck fan. Let's just keep that clear. I don't really like everything he's done. I don't like what he stands for.
Batman, though.
Right, that's debatable.
Agreed.
Well, okay. Well, that's for another podcast.
Michael Keaton for life. But that being said, I'm glad that like the woman who was on his lap giggling spoke out, because again, it's that lynch mob mentality that was like he acted. No, look at her. Look at her. Does she seem to mind? She is accepting that. If a woman wants to accept a man being sexually provocative, that is her fucking choice. That's not for us to judge.